Hey everyone, Nigel and Luke here, and welcome to Crime Zone. A California woman says that she and her family recently got the fright of their lives when they awoke to strange noises at their house and she went to investigate, only to make an extremely unsettling discovery. According to reports, the incident began at around 6 o'clock on the morning of August 12th, when Ashley Gardino and her family heard the strange sounds in question coming from the rental home where they were living in the city of Lake Elsinore. Initially believing that there was something on the roof, Ashley went outside to take a look. She was walking the perimeter of the property when something caught her eye, only it was coming from an area of grass near the home's foundation. To her horror, that's when she saw it. A person's arm coming out from a small hole leading to the residence's crawlspace. It belonged to an unknown man who was clearly hiding inside. Understandably freaked out, Ashley yelled at the man to get out. However, he apparently did not listen. At the same time, her partner called the police, who arrived at the scene roughly 30 minutes later. Ashley described the whole ordeal in a now viral TikTok video, which she shot in between the initial discovery of the strange intruder and when the man was placed under arrest. In the video, she explains, quote, "A f***ing arm comes out of the hole and is feeling around. A dirty ass arm is feeling around this hole outside. You know how creepy it is to see a f***ing arm come out of this feeling around the side of the house? Imagine being half awake and seeing it." The situation gets even more disturbing though. According to Ashley, this was far from the first time she and her family had heard strange noises at the property. However, up until now, they hadn't thought much of it because their landlord was known for doing work at the residence at odd hours. Ashley had also found the screens to the crawlspace moved several times in the lead up to the incident, but she owns cats, so she assumed they were simply going in and out of there. Chillingly, she now says that she believes the stranger may have been living under her family's house for 3 months before being discovered. While the suspect was arrested when police arrived at the scene, it appears that his name has not been released at the time of this recording. However, in subsequent updates to her TikTok account, Ashley suggested that the man was a 26-year-old drug user who was well known to police and who was on parole for arson at the time of the incident. Perhaps unsurprisingly, it appears that Ashley and her family are currently in the process of moving to a new home. Authorities in Volusia County, Florida say that a 58-year-old man is facing charges this week after he allegedly tried to dispose of a pipe bomb in a panic at a local car wash. According to reports, the incident took place sometime last week when officers from the Volusia County Sheriff's Office received a call from a woman in the city of Deltona. The woman said that she and her husband, 58-year-old Anthony Ray West, were going through a divorce and that he was in possession of some things that they might want to know about. Among these were bomb-making materials, as well as several books and manuals on how to make explosive devices. Though West had since come to the house and picked up duffel bags containing all of these items, the woman had apparently taken photos of several things beforehand as proof. Upon seeing the images, police paid West a visit at the place where he was staying in the city of Edgewater. When police searched West's duffel bags, one particularly concerning item was missing: a fully constructed pipe bomb complete with a fuse. During questioning, West allegedly confessed that he knew police were looking for the bomb because his wife had texted him. He said he panicked and threw it in a trash bin at a local car wash. This was subsequently confirmed when the bomb squad was sent in and an X-ray was used to locate the pipe bomb, which was then safely secured. While speaking to police, West further claimed that he made the pipe bomb a while back and said he never intended to use it to hurt anyone. He was charged with manufacturing an explosive device and possession of bomb-making materials, and is now being held on $20,000 bond. Representatives from the Las Vegas Police Department say that a 50-year-old man is facing murder charges this week after he allegedly shot and killed his girlfriend during the middle of an argument, then hid her body while trying to come up with a plan. Las Vegas police were alerted to the incident at around 2:30 p.m. on August 14th, when an unidentified man arrived at a local police station and reported a homicide. The man said that he believed a woman had been murdered 2 days earlier at a property on the 1600 block of Golden Arrow Drive. He said he hadn't come forward until now because he feared for his life. According to the witness, he was at the house in question on the morning of August 12th when he heard the victim, Selena Rebholz, arguing with her boyfriend, 50-year-old James Gina III. The pair appeared to be screaming at each other and throwing things, with things escalating when James threatened to kill Selena. Fearing James because of his violent temper and frequent drug use, the witness said that he had not tried to intervene. James's mother did apparently try to break up the fight, though when she did, the 50-year-old threatened her too. At that point, the witness said that he and the mother left the house to go gambling. When the pair returned, James was allegedly acting frantic and distraught. He led them into a bedroom in the house, where he allegedly showed them Selena lying naked on the floor with a gunshot wound to her chest. It's unclear if she was still alive at this point or not, though according to the witness, he left the house because he, quote, could not deal with the situation. At some point, James allegedly texted him, confirming that Selena was now dead. The following day, James allegedly told the witness that he had hidden Selena's body in the attic of his home and that he was now trying to get rid of it. He reportedly said that he was trying to get a rental car and did not want to move the remains in his own vehicle because the body was, quote, beginning to emit a foul odor. When police raided James and his mother's home after receiving the witness's report, they found Selena's body on a couch in the 50-year-old's bedroom. She had been covered by a blanket. Despite allegedly telling multiple people that he had accidentally killed Selena, authorities now say that James shot her at least 12 times. At the time of this recording, James remains in custody and has been charged with open murder involving a deadly weapon and owning/possessing a gun by a prohibited person. He reportedly has prior convictions for battery/domestic violence with serious bodily harm, possession of a stolen vehicle, battery causing substantial harm, coercion, and owning or operating premises on which illegally obtained motor vehicles are altered, destroyed, disassembled, reassembled, or stored for certain purposes. Authorities in Harford County, Maryland released a terrifying update in the murder of a 37-year-old woman this week, announcing that they had connected the case to another chilling unsolved crime that took place earlier this year on the opposite side of the country. If you're a regular viewer of our Crimes of the Week series, then you'll probably remember that last week we brought you the heartbreaking story of Rachel Morin, a 37-year-old mother of 5 who was brutally murdered on a popular section of trail in the town of Bel Air. Rachel was reported missing after disappearing on the evening of August 5th, leading to a frantic search effort that ended the following afternoon when her body was tragically discovered in a wooded area just off the trail where she was last seen. At the time of our last report, no suspects had been identified in the case, though many had been quick to point the finger at Rachel's 27-year-old boyfriend, Richard Tobin. If you'll recall, Rachel and Richard had only publicly announced their relationship about a week prior to her murder, leading many so-called online sleuths to conclude that he had to somehow be involved. This prompted a response from Richard on social media where he stated that he loved Rachel and would never do anything to hurt her, asking for time for both him and her family to be allowed to grieve. While police had never suggested that Richard was a suspect in the first place, new information revealed this week appears to vindicate him even further. This is because authorities say that DNA evidence in the investigation has officially linked the murder to another chilling incident roughly 2,700 miles away. According to reports, the crime in question is the assault of a girl in Los Angeles, California, which allegedly took place during a home invasion in March of this year. The connection was made after a DNA match in the CODIS database linked both crime scenes. Unfortunately, the person that this DNA belongs to has yet to be identified at the time of this recording. However, police do have a short clip of surveillance video taken from the March crime scene that they believe shows the perpetrator. This video is now being circulated in the hopes that an identification can be made. The suspect is described as a Hispanic male, roughly 5 feet 9 inches tall and weighing around 160 pounds. Anyone with information about this man is asked to reach out via phone or email to the Harford County Sheriff Office's tip line. Authorities in Anchorage, Alaska say that a 21-year-old man is facing murder charges this week after he allegedly killed his new wife and then spent days trying to cover up the crime. Police were first alerted about the disappearance of 21-year-old Soraya Hildebrand on the afternoon of August 7th when they were contacted by her husband, Zarius Hildebrand. Zarius said that he had last seen his wife the previous morning at around 10 a.m. when she left their apartment to walk to work. The two were both in the military, with Zarius serving as a cannon crew member assigned to the 2nd Infantry Brigade Combat Team, 11th Airborne Division, and Soraya serving as a combat medic in the Alaska National Guard. However, she also had a second job at a local restaurant. Zarius said that he didn't really worry about his wife until about 12 hours later, when she failed to return home from work and he learned that she had been a no-show. He said he drove around the neighborhood looking for her, but had still waited until the following afternoon to report her missing because he assumed that there had simply been a misunderstanding. After receiving Zarius' report, police launched a search for Soraya and began interviewing other people that knew her. However, the more that they learned, the more their suspicions started to turn back to the missing woman's husband. For starters, Zarius claimed that Soraya had left her cell phone at home when she left for work on August 6th, something that was extremely unusual for her. Yet somehow at 10:45 a.m. that day, she texted co-workers telling them that she wouldn't be in. This was supposedly a full 45 minutes after she left the house, and shouldn't have been possible considering that Soraya wasn't in possession of her phone. When asked by police, Zarius denied sending the message himself. In addition to this, those that knew Soraya said that she had never planned on going to work on August 6th in the first place. The previous night, they had been out with friends for Zarius' 21st birthday, and those in attendance say Soraya was planning to call in sick the next day. The last time these friends saw Soraya was early that morning when she and Zarius left to return home together from the bar. Even more suspicious was a series of purchases police learned that Zarius had made prior to reporting his wife missing. These included a set of new bed sheets, a mattress cover, hydrogen peroxide, a spray bottle, and most ominously of all, a 96-gallon trash bin with wheels. These purchases had all been made at the time when Zarius had originally told police he was out looking for his wife. According to reports, everyone's worst fears were confirmed on August 10th when Soraya's body was found hidden in a storm drain just a short distance from her apartment on the 5200 block of Mockingbird Drive. The 21-year-old had died of a gunshot wound to the head. When a search warrant was executed at Soraya and Zarius' apartment, even more evidence was reportedly uncovered tying him to the crime. This included a blood-soaked mattress as well as a handgun that was found to have a single bullet missing. Blood was also allegedly found in the bathtub of the apartment as well as on some of the floors. According to police, Zarius pretended to be a concerned husband right up until the time he was arrested for Soraya's murder. Her mother, Meredith, says that he had everyone fooled and had posted on Facebook pleading for information concerning Soraya's whereabouts just the day before her body was found. At the time of this recording, Zarius Hildebrand is facing charges of first-degree murder and tampering with evidence and remains in custody. No motive has been released behind the chilling crime, and it's said that the victim and the accused had only been living together for a few months after getting married late last year following a whirlwind romance. The situation is still developing. Authorities in Drew County, Arkansas say that a 24-year-old fugitive is in custody this week after he allegedly sought employment in one of the most questionable places imaginable for someone in his situation. According to reports, the whole thing began earlier this week when officials with the local police department in the town of Monticello received an online application from a man in South Carolina. The man's resume appeared to check all the boxes, so he was invited to come down to Arkansas to discuss the position further, as well as to take part in a physical fitness test. However, upon arriving at the station, officials noticed some discrepancies in the man's physical appearance while conducting his background check. They did a little more digging and soon discovered why. His real name was Justin C. Carter, a 24-year-old fugitive from Georgia who had a nationwide warrant out for his arrest for a parole violation. After making this discovery, Monticello police invited Carter back the following day to the local high school track where they conducted his physical fitness test. As soon as it was over, he was placed under arrest and transported back to Georgia. At the time of this recording, it has not been reported what crime Carter was on parole for at the time of his arrest. It's also unclear why the 24-year-old thought applying for a job with any police department was a good idea, considering he was a wanted man. Authorities in the city of Pasadena, Texas, say that a local father's life was turned completely upside down last week when he left his adolescent daughter home alone for a few hours, only for her to be the victim of a nightmarish crime. According to reports, when Carmelo Gonzalez left the Main Street apartment he shared with his 11-year-old daughter Maria on the morning of August 12th, he didn't think anything of it. He was only going to be at work for a few hours, and there were other family members living in the building just a few doors down, including Maria's aunt and uncle. After leaving the house at around 9 a.m., Carmelo and Maria exchanged texts and voice messages, and at first everything seemed to be fine. That was, until about an hour later, when Maria texted to say that there was someone knocking at their door. Carmelo told his daughter not to answer. However, she stopped communicating with him almost immediately afterwards. Concerned, Carmelo asked Maria's aunt and uncle to go and check on her. However, when they went inside the apartment, it didn't appear that she was home. They looked around and knocked on other people's doors, but no one else said that they had seen Maria either. When Carmelo got home at around 3 that afternoon, he continued the search, though this time it quickly came to a horrifying end. Under one of the beds in the apartment, Carmelo found his daughter's lifeless body wrapped in plastic and hidden in a laundry basket. She had been sexually assaulted and strangled to death. Upon arriving at the scene, police began searching the apartment for evidence, during which they reportedly stumbled across a key that stood out to them. It didn't fit any of the doors in the apartment, though they would eventually learn it opened a different unit at the building, one where an 18-year-old man named Juan Carlos Garcia Rodriguez had been staying over the past several weeks. While the 18-year-old apparently fled the apartment before authorities pieced all this together, he was subsequently arrested in Shreveport, Louisiana. According to reports, he has since offered a full confession in connection with the heinous murder and is currently awaiting extradition back to Texas. Authorities in Springfield, Massachusetts say that 3 people are dead this week, including the gunman, after a man allegedly carried out a horrifying shooting attack against his neighbors before turning his weapon on himself. The situation began at around 2:40 p.m. on August 14th, when police were called to a multi-family home on Berkshire Avenue. Upon entering the first-floor unit, they immediately came across the bodies of 2 people, as well as a dog, all of whom had suffered fatal gunshot wounds. Officers continued into the residence, where they discovered 3 children ages 5, 10, and 12 hiding in a bedroom. While the youngest was physically unharmed, both other children had also suffered gunshot wounds and were immediately rushed to area hospitals. Upon further investigation, authorities learned that the incident had been started by 34-year-old Victor Nevis, one of the 2 deceased people police initially found at the crime scene, and a resident of one of the home's upstairs units. It's now alleged that Nevis broke through the front door of the first-floor residence, opening fire on the family that lived there. After shooting and killing 52-year-old Kim Fairbanks, Nevis reportedly went after her grandchildren before finally turning his weapon on himself. 3 days after the attack, another tragic development was reported in the case, when it was announced that the 10-year-old victim of the attack, Aubrianna Lynn, had died of her injuries. Aubrianna's older sister, meanwhile, is said to be in stable condition, and is said to have tried her best to save both of her siblings during the terrifying incident. As for Victor Nevis, little has so far been released about his possible motive, though there are some local reports that allege he was abusing drugs and may have been experiencing mental health issues at the time of the attack. In an interview, the 34-year-old's girlfriend claimed that he had been binging on cocaine and over-the-counter drugs, and that suddenly his behavior had shifted. She went on to allege that the families that lived in the apartments where the shooting took place were close, and that tragically, Nevis knew the victims well, saying, quote, "He loved those kids. He would do anything for them. He wouldn't have done this if he was in his right mind." At the time of this recording, though, it's unclear if any of these claims have been confirmed. The situation is still developing. Before we wrap up, we'd like to take a second to give a huge shout out to everyone who has made it this far into the video. Seriously, thank you so much for watching. If you found today's upload interesting and informative, we'd be honored if you'd consider liking and subscribing, as well as hitting the notification bell and selecting all notifications to stay up to date with our latest releases. If you're looking for additional ways to help support the channel, we'd love to have you join us over on Patreon. Patrons get ad-free and early access to all of our content, as well as 4 additional stories per week for each of our Crimes of the Week and Crimes of the Week International videos. You can learn more at patreon.com/crimezone, where you'll also find some of the fine folks whose names are currently on screen. All that being said, we understand that not everyone has the means to support financially, and that's totally okay. We appreciate every like, sub, share, and comment that you send our way. Once again, thanks so much everyone, and take care.